Okay, I am going to get started here. So before we do start, a little bit about me. My name is Sarah-Jayne McNaughton. I'm a certified personal life strategist, business coach, and I specialize in solo business operators. I'm also a stress management specialist and keynote speaker on nervous system regulation. Now, as a coach, I'm radically action orientated, which means I don't just help people have breakthroughs up here. I help them turn their breakthroughs into actual momentum in their actual life. Now, I'm also the co-founder of the Ascendancy Collective, which is who's invited you here today. Which is a self-development and education company. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about that later on. But I'm just going to quickly share my slides here for you. Beautiful. So the workshop today is the life you want isn't an accident. And this is a live goal setting workshop. So it's meant to be something that you are actually implementing. I'm going to pop into the chat a little bit later on a document that you can work through as well in order to help guide you through the steps. But basically today I'm giving you a framework to create the life of your dreams through your goals in a way that you might not have done it before. Some bits will be familiar and others will be quite an expansion on what you have done in the past. But again, back to myself. Long story short, a few years ago, I was an absolute achievement machine. I had everything on paper, but I never really felt successful. I had a pivotal moment, and some of you might actually relate to this, where life kind of came crashing down. And basically, I had to relearn how to exist in the world. And it sounds really dramatic, but it was sort of that type of feeling where everything that I thought I knew became, it came into my conscious awareness that actually everything I thought I knew wasn't true and that I hadn't actually consciously created my life. I had done all of the markers of success and achieved all of the things. I was climbing the corporate ladder and traveling and, buying houses, and I was really having a good time. But I also felt deeply miserable a lot of the time. And it was really hard to come to terms with. And I basically got to a point where it felt like I had just come here to work, pay bills, and die in this very short, very important, miraculous life that we all get one of. And I just felt like I'd come here to work, pay bills, and die. And I felt like there had to be much more to life than this. And the other part was that I hadn't purposefully arrived here. I had followed the path that was laid before me, or I had gone with my conditioning and program in a certain direction, and I hadn't consciously chosen where I ended up. So even though things were technically good, I didn't feel good on the inside. And what I came to was one really fundamental truth that is now very much the basis of everything I teach. And that is that achievement without fulfillment will never feel like success. And Tony Robbins talks on this much better than I ever will. Success without fulfillment is the ultimate failure, as he says. And I feel like for me, that was really one of the things that was missing. So as we go through our framework today, the framework that I've taken bits and pieces from lots of corporate frameworks, personal frameworks, goal setting things you would have heard before, and mushed it together into something that really foundationally allows you to have a much higher chance of achieving it because it has some of these elements in it, including fulfillment. So, who has set a goal before? A real goal. Maybe you've written it down, you felt genuinely excited about it, and now ask yourself, is that goal still sitting on a list somewhere, unfinished? Or maybe it's in the back of your mind taking up emotional energy. Maybe for the second or third time, who's repeated their New Year's resolution? Yeah, me too. I've been going to lose the same 20 kilos for 10 years, right? It's nothing to do with willpower or discipline or even prioritizing. It's, you probably have households and kids and work and bills and schedules and all these other things, right, that need to get done. So it actually comes down to being a system problem and having the right elements in a system to make it actually work. So as I said today, I'm going to give you a framework that I've shared with many, many, many clients in both business and personal coaching who've really moved the needle on what they are going to actually do. So this is tried and true. Now, within the hour, you're going to leave with one real goal actually written out and a concrete plan to move on this week. You can start straight away and you can repeat this plan over and over again on any goals that you have. So before we get into that, let's talk about the top three reasons that goals don't get achieved. Now, number one, a vague goal will not survive a busy life. I want to grow my business is not a goal, it's a direction. A real goal has a deadline. It has a measurable outcome, an understanding of how that outcome will be measured. It has an action that you can take on a daily basis. And if you can't describe what success looks like in one sentence, the goal isn't ready yet. It needs to be very specific. Number two, there's no real emotional feel behind it. Now, this one is really big, and this is where that fulfillment piece I was mentioned before comes from. And there's two types of motivation as well. Now, I think a lot of us probably know, but if you don't, motivation is what starts us on the trajectory of achieving a goal. Discipline is what carries us through. Motivation doesn't hold up over time. But to get us started, we do need some motivation, a real reason behind what we're doing and why we're doing it. And there's two types of motivation. One is push motivation. So that's where you're trying to move away from something uncomfortable, where you're trying to push away. Sorry. So you're trying to push away. So for example, I want to lose I'll go back to my 20 kilos. I want to lose my 20 kilos because I don't like the way that I look. Has a very different energy to say a pull motivation, which is I want to lose 20 kilos so I can run around after my family and feel really good in my body. So that's when you're wanting to go towards something that you want as opposed to pushing away from something you don't want. So when you go through the part of the exercise where we have a look at the reason for your goal, if you find it's a push motivation, try and reframe it into a pull motivation. It will really help you in the first place. And the other reason is that we don't always know the real reason behind our goal. It's often not the first thing you think of. So you might have a very surface level reason for wanting to, get healthier, to make more money, to grow your business, to find the right partner. Whatever your goal is, whatever spectrum it sits in, you'll have a surface level reason. So if you ask yourself, why do I want this? The first thing that comes to mind is never the real thing. It's really important to keep digging down, and we're going to go through this live in a minute, but keep going down until you actually really understand the reason why you want the goal that you want. And number three is procrastination. And I'm sure many of you probably have felt this before. And the thing is with procrastination, it feels like laziness. It feels like failure. It feels like something to beat ourselves up about, but it's actually not. It's very much a signal. And there's a couple of reasons why we procrastinate. Number one is that the task at hand, the thing feels too big. It feels too advanced for us, or just physically, like I can't fit that amount of work into my day, my week, my month, my year, etc. So really important that when we're chunking this down and putting our milestones in, that we really consider, well, how much actual time, energy, resources do I have to dedicate to this? Is it realistic for me to achieve? Another reason is perfectionism. So procrastination and perfectionism go hand in hand. If you are a perfectionist and you like things perfect, then you might need them to be perfect before you start, which means you never start. You never start the thing, or you won't do it until it's right. And by then it might be completely gone out of your mind and you'll end up going, oh, I was going to do that thing 3 months ago and I never got there. There's also on the perfectionism side, the fear of putting something out into the world and being judged on it. It's not good enough. And the most harsh judge and the most harsh critic is ourselves, right? We're the ones that go, well, I might not get this right. It might not be good enough. So perfectionism is another reason that we procrastinate. Another reason I see with my clients a lot with procrastination is they're actually afraid of certainly failure, which we've kind of touched on, but what if I try the thing and I fail? And how will that feel? How will I look to others? How will that affect my my world, my family, whatever it is that is relying on this goal being achieved? Because we put a lot of pressure on goals being achieved. But some people are also afraid of success. So what will change if if I make $1 million in my business this year? What will change? How will my social dynamics change? How will the way I behave change? Maybe you've heard things like, rich people are assholes or something like that. And all of these things about how we think and feel about ourselves and how we relate to the world might change. So there's also procrastination or a fear of starting because we actually fear the success that it might bring. So just be really conscious of these things. And if they come up for you, it's really about intercepting them in the moment and going, where has this come from? Is it real? Is it fact or feeling? Am I going to keep pursuing this or not? And make conscious decisions. Don't just let your mind decide what you will and won't do. Really important to actually intercept our thoughts. And I don't have time to go into it today. I go into it in a lot of our events and a lot of our other webinars. But basically, long story short, your entire all of your actions, thoughts, emotions are all predetermined by your nervous system and your subconscious mind, and all based on the past experiences. So, what that means is every time you do something, you think that you're in control, you think you're making a decision, and you're actually not. You're being guided and led. So if some of these things that I'm talking about come up for you in the pursuit of your goal, really important to stop, take stock for a moment, and decide that you're either going to let that happen or not. And what are you going to do instead? Beautiful. All right, let's look at this grows your goal model. And I'm just going to pop into I'm just going to pop a Word document into the chat here. So for those of you that are watching the recording, I will send this out with the email with the recording. And when it goes into YouTube and into our school community, I'll pop the Word document in there as well. But basically, this is where you can fill out each of the sections and actually, put your goal onto paper. So, alrighty, now I'm just going to reshare. Let's have a look at this framework. Okay, so number one is the goal itself. The goal itself. And as I mentioned earlier, the goal needs to be very, very specific. It needs to be something that you can articulate, like you will know when it's happened, when it's successful. So as I said, grow my business isn't really a specific goal, it's a direction. So how would I know that I've grown my business? Does that mean I get one more client and my business is growing? Or what I mean is I've hit a revenue amount. So I've hit 20K months, that means my business has grown. Or I've got 10 clients per month, that means my business has grown. What is the specific things? In personal, it could be, I want to run a half marathon. So that's got a certain number of kilometers. It's 21 kilometers, and you have a date that you're going to do it. You're going to do it on the 12th of October, for example. Everything should be dated as well. So super specific, have a date on it, and really an understanding of how you would measure it, how you'll know you'll be successful. So I'm just going to give you a couple of minutes here to write down your goal. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. SMART goal. So by this date, I will have X. Is one way to frame it. All right, let's move on to the reason. And I spoke briefly about this before around that emotional fuel side of things. Why do you want this goal? And I really want you, as you're writing this, to think about the real reason. So the first one that comes to mind, why do you want this goal? When you ask yourself that question, ask yourself, and why do I want that? And why do I want that? And why do I want that? And just keep digging and digging until you get to the emotional core reason for why you want this goal. So we're going to start with that first. You might want to just brain dump a little bit, write down, you might have lots and lots and lots of reasons that you want to write down, or just one reason why this is so important to you, but really reflect on, why do I want this? Why is this important to me? And then the second part of that is once you've got to the main reason, the core reason, if it is a push away motivation, so you're moving away from something you no longer want, reframe it into a pull towards, pulling it towards something you do want, an outcome you do want. So another word that I use for goals is life outcome. So I just use goals because it's quite universal. People know what I mean, but it's actually a life outcome. What outcome do you actually want in your life? And how is this goal going to give it to you in terms of the emotional connection and the reason? So I'm going to give you a few minutes here to write your reasons and also reframe if you need to into a pull motivation. Dig deep here. Really dig deep. Don't go for the first reason that comes up. Whatever that reason that comes up is, go and why do I want that? And why do I want that? And why do I want that? Until it is in a core emotional piece for you. Why do you really want this goal? What's the real reason? Really allow yourself to go there. This can be quite confronting for people. Go deep. Allow yourself to really go deep and connect with the reason that you want it. Okay, the next part, the O in our GROWS model. So O is obstacles, and you would have seen this potentially if you've done goal setting frameworks before, whether that be in workplaces or personal obstacles, right? We need to be aware of what might come up and challenge us because, it's definitely possible that things will. So it's good to be aware of the likely things that will happen and some of the unlikely things. Now, you don't want to spend too much time on the unlikely things because then you might be a little bit too focused on bringing those things into light. But really, there's going to be some obvious things that you either don't have at the moment. So resources that you need that you don't currently have right now. So you need a list of resources you need to acquire that you don't have currently, and that is an obstacle to achieving the goal. And also things that might come up for you. Can your time get swallowed up sometimes? Can things get pushed down the priority list? Do you not have much time at the moment? Really understand for you what your specific obstacles to achieving this specific goal could be, and then what you're going to do if that comes up. So anticipate the obstacle, and then when this happens, this is what I'm going to do. Now, the other piece that's absolutely almost always missing in goal setting frameworks is your opportunities. Let's identify your opportunities. So if I go back to my goal at the beginning, 20 kilos, if I go back to that goal and I go, well, I can't start because I don't have a gym membership. I don't have, money for a gym membership. I don't have a PT. I'm going to need a nutritionist to tell me how to eat. This is all my obstacles, right? The things that I need to do my goal. But when I look at my opportunities, well, what do I have? And the question is, how can I? And what do I have that allows me to start straight away? Well, I can go for a walk outside on the footpath. I know for a fact that there's free running apps I can download to my phone and put that in my ears and go for it. I know that I can swap out high sugar foods for low sugar foods, and I can do these things that start immediately. And often we're so busy looking at the reasons we can't do things, the reasons that we can't start, the reasons that we can't make this happen, that we forget to look at the things that we do have. So when we do the O, yes, anticipate your obstacles. Yes, understand what you will do when they will happen, when these things come up for you. Yes, understand the list of resources you don't currently have that you need to acquire. And also, what opportunities do you have? What resources do you have now? What people can you rely on now? What accountability structures can you put in place now? What opportunities to actually succeed and move do you have right now? Make sure that you write them down as well. So I'm going to give you a few minutes here. And this is something that you want to come back to as they come up as well, both opportunities and obstacles as they come up. So this is a section that will be incomplete in this session. Make a start on it. Some things will be very obviously coming to mind now. Get those out on paper. But really with this is something you want to come back and revisit later tonight potentially, or at another time, or as they come up, come back and keep filling this section out. So go ahead and write down some obstacles and opportunities for your life outcome or your goal now. Right, just take another minute here. So obstacles and also your opportunities. What resources, what people, what do you have? What tools do you have right now to get started at least? Awesome. And then the W in our growth model is way forward. So this is the plan. This is the steps. How am I going to achieve my goal? And the way that we do this is we reverse engineer it. So we go on this date, I'm going to have X, Y, Z. So in order to get there, how am I going to know along the way? Like, let's say your goal is 3 months away. How will I know after month one that I'm on track? What is my milestone going to be? So we're going to break down the big goal into milestones and we're going to date those. And again, they need to be specific. They're mini goals. They need to be specific, measurable, time bound. Mini goals within our large goal that really allow us to chunk down. Because as I said before, one of the reasons that we procrastinate is because the goal feels so big and there's so much work. Or we feel like we've got so much time because it's so far away. This is a way to bring it closer to us, make it real, make it actionable right now, and also make the size of it more manageable. So we're setting mini goals here. So you're going to have a think about where you can put in some milestones, what they would look like, when they would be, how you would measure them. And then underneath those milestones, the key steps that you need to take. So again, this is somewhere we're going to spend a couple of minutes here now, but you will need to come back to this and really flesh it out. This is your plan. This is your how you achieve it. And this is where you might be, for example, looking at your first milestone 4 weeks from now and going, well, actually, I don't have enough time to get to that milestone. I can only dedicate an hour a week to my goal, and I need 6 hours to achieve that milestone. Then you might readjust either the goal or the milestone. So this is really where you understand what is achievable and possible realistically in your diary, in your life, so that you can check if this goal is actually going to happen for you. So this part is absolutely critical. This is where you plan it. Now, once you've also done your milestones and your action items under them, you're also going to put the time in your diary to achieve them, right? You're actually going to put aside the time and the energy and the resources and anything that you need to achieve those steps. So again, this is quite a big section. It's really detailed, very important. It's your actual plan of attack. So like I said, we're going to spend a couple of minutes here doing this, really get some things down on paper and understand especially what the milestones are and a couple of the key actions. And then another thing you want to do after the session is go to your diary and actually make it happen. Put it in, make it a priority. Do what you've got to do to make it happen. So spending a couple of minutes here on the way forward or the plan to achieve your life outcome or goal. Remember, these are little mini goals, so being very specific, time bound. And then this difference with this is we're really putting a few, like 3 or 4 key actions under each milestone that must happen in order to achieve that milestone. sure you have identified at least 3 actions under each one.
Making sure you've written down at least 3 actions under each one. Awesome. Okay. So as I said, definitely come back to this later and set out your plan in detail, and then making sure that you're putting aside the time, the resources, whatever is required in order to actually meet those couple of action steps under each milestone. And what do you actually do if you get to a milestone and realize that you're off track or you haven't achieved it? Well, then you actually need to readjust. You need to maybe readjust the next milestone, readjust the actions, readjust the end outcome. But if we get 3 or 4 months down the track and then we realize that we're off track, then it's much harder to course correct. But if we're just a couple of degrees off when we get to the end of, say, month 1, we can course correct or adjust as required. So this is really, really important. Okay, and then the S in our growth model is C. And again, this is something that I really see missing in a lot of goal setting frameworks and models, is the C piece. Now, visualization activates the same neural pathways as actually doing the thing. When we picture something as if it has happened already, and we actually embody the energetic state and the feelings and emotions of, I already have achieved the thing, your subconscious, you're giving your subconscious and your nervous system different information, different inputs. Remember I said before that we're operating on all of the inputs and information and all of the situations that have happened in our life to date. We're now giving it inputs and pictures and imagery and feelings of what we actually want. And your body has no and your subconscious mind has no choice but to actually give you that thing, because it doesn't know the difference between what's real and perceived. So if you tell it that this is our real life, it will give you that as your real life. And this is not woo-woo stuff. This is scientifically proven. And I used to never think about anything like this before, but now that I do, I can't unsee it. And it's so true. It's actually a rewiring of how the neural pathways go. So we're actually going to do a visualization process here together. I'm going to pop on some music. And what I'll get you to do is really just feel in the body, allow yourself. And this is the thing, the key, right? Sometimes we don't really let ourselves understand or fully feel what it is that we want, because we're too scared that if it doesn't happen, that we'll feel like a failure. So I really want you to let go of all that today, let down your barriers, and let's just really enjoy this process of visualization. So start by getting really comfortable in your seat, closing down your eyes, really just feeling the support of the seat beneath you, behind you, feet flat on the floor, feeling grounded, feeling connected. Really taking a moment to breathe nice and deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. Your spine is nice and tall, limbs are heavy, eyes shut. You may like to put your hands on your knees, palms up, open to receiving. As we take the next big deep inhale through the nose, notice your jaw and relax as you exhale. The next big deep breath in, notice your shoulders, and relax and exhale. Beautiful. Keep those nice deep breaths going. Now above your head, imagine a warm white light. This is the higher version of you, who already has everything that you desire. This version knows your deepest desires and all of what is possible for you. See this light begin to flow down through you, through every cell in your body, bringing clarity, presence, power. It protects you, shows you the way. Now imagine there are no limits, no fear, no barriers. 6 months from today, you have created your dream purpose-built life. You have achieved your big goal. See it clearly now. Where are you? What does your environment look like? What's changed? The colors, the textures, the details. Feel it in your body now. Who's there with you? What relationships surround you, supporting you, celebrating you? What are you doing with your days? What fills your hours now? The work, the creativity, the contribution to the world. How does your body feel? Is it strong, energized, alive, or something else? Take a deep breath in through the nose and exhale. Breathe in the emotions of this vision. Joy, confidence, freedom, pride, gratitude. What is it for you? Whatever they are for you, let them expand right through your whole body. Really feel them. Don't just see this, be in it. Feel the emotions like it's already done. Deep breath in through the nose and exhale. Now walk yourself through your perfect day. From the moment you wake up, what do you see? What do you hear around you? What time is it? How do you feel? Really see it and live it right now. How do you move through the morning? Through the afternoon? Or how are you spending your time? Who's there with you? How do you contribute? We move into the evening. How do you feel at the end of your day? Let every sense be alive. Let yourself fully experience it. Your higher self is here with you, guiding you. They know what's possible, as if it's already here. Deep breath in through the nose out. You can have the moment just to bask in the feeling. Begin to bring your awareness back to the here and now, back to the room that you're in. Keep your eyes shut. A couple of deep breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes. When you're ready, open up your eyes. Beautiful. So I hope that you were really able to feel into what it's like to achieve the goal. And as I said earlier, this is not woo-woo nonsense. It is scientific fact that your subconscious and your nervous system do not understand, just like they don't understand the difference between real and perceived danger. We can feel really fearful about something, even though there's no physical danger to us. So it's really important that we're feeding our subconscious mind with imagery and feelings of what it's like to actually achieve what we want in this life. And like I said, when you do that, you can't help but being drawn to it. It's a really beautiful thing and something that a lot of people don't know. So anytime you're feeling a little bit wobbly on the goal or you need to come back and reconnect, remember what the last few minutes, I mean, that was just a couple of minutes that we spent getting into the emotional body, getting into the feelings of it already being done, the imagery, all of the senses alive and aligned to that end result. So come back to that feeling you've just experienced anytime you're wavering on this goal. Right. And just before we finish up today, I really want to have a quick chat about time. So probably the biggest reason that I get told as a barrier to achieving what we want or why we didn't achieve something is because of time, that I don't have time to do that or time got in the way. And I hear you, right? But I want to give you a couple of different things to have a look at here. So the first one is the Pareto principle, or otherwise known as the 80-20 rule. So some of you may have heard of this before. Now, the idea is that 80% of your results come from 20% of your actions. So in business and in life, a small number of things that you are doing are actually driving everything that matters. So if you're doing hundreds of things in a day, only 20% of those are actually moving the needle in your life or your business. So how do we determine the 20%? Well, that's something that we actually have to do. And it really depends on your life and your goals and what you want and all the things that you have to do, right? There's definitely things you have to do and things that you get to do. And you need to sit down and really critically analyze how it is that you're spending your time and choose the 20% that moves the needle. And now this works in reverse, right? So those of you with businesses will know that if you'll have clients and 20% of them will consume 80% of your time and 80% of your energy, and the others are really easy, right? So it works both ways. So the other thing is we can be spending so much time on busy work that keeps us occupied, that keeps us doing things that are kind of meaningless and not moving us forward. So you need to critically analyze what you're doing and understand that only 20% of what you do will drive 80% of your results. So what 20% are you going to do first? And another thing that we can couple this with is the rock, pebble, sand. I guess it's a theory. So if you imagine that there's a jar in front of you and that jar might represent your goal, it might represent a day in your life or a year or your whole life, whatever you want it to represent. And there are rocks in our lives, right? When we're achieving a goal, there'll be all of those actions we wrote down before. Some of them will be rocks. They have to happen. If they don't happen, the goal doesn't happen. So there's rocks in our lives. And there's also pebbles. These are things that are important. They have to happen, but they don't necessarily move the needle forward. But they're just critical tasks that have to happen, life admin and things like that. And then there's sand. This is your busy work, your distractions, checking emails constantly, scrolling on your phone, things of that nature. and we're going to call that sand. Now, if you have your jar, how most people operate is they do the things that are quick and easy first, or the things they like to do first, which is sand. So they pour the sand into their jar. Then next they might do their pebbles, the things that absolutely have to happen, but they're not that important or not that critical. So then the pebbles go in. And then what you'll find is you might have room for maybe one rock or no rock sometimes. The really important needle moving tasks and things that are really important to us. This is where we might see, for example, people working a lot and not spending a lot of time. They want to spend time with their family, but they prioritize work. Their family rock, there's no space for their rock that is family to fit into their life. So what we have to do consciously is identify our rocks, our pebbles, and our sand, and we do the rocks first. So when you have your jar, if you put your rocks in first, then there might be some space in there around the rocks for the pebbles, right? So you put your pebbles in, you do those things, they're important, they have to happen. Then, only then, we pour in the sand, and the sand can fit in all of the nooks and crannies and actually fill up the jar, right? And then, lo and behold, what do you know? Everything fits into your day, into your life, into your goal, whatever it is. So, really important that you identify, well, what are my rocks, pebbles, and sand here? And that tells you what order we do things. So, a lot of the things with time management, it's literally just the order that we prioritize things. And that is most of the basis of time management. That's how simple it is. And this stuff is simple and not easy. I'll say that. This is simple stuff and it's not easy. It is a change in the way that we think and operate. So I really want you to know I understand that. It's not easy, but it's so, so simple. Just put some of these tools into practice. It's kind of like the Mark Twain eat the frog theory as well is another good one to look at. So that basically says if you were to eat a frog first thing in the morning, then everything else the rest of your day would be really easy. So do the big, hard, scary thing first, or do the big needle moving thing that's actually going to get you clients, that's going to get you health to where you want it, that's going to get you the time with your family back. Whatever it is that's actually important to you, do that first thing in the morning, the very, very first thing, and prioritize it and guard it with your life. It's so, so important, like it's sacred. For me, like just as a small example, I wanted to start doing ice baths, and I was like, well, if I don't do it first thing in the morning, it just won't happen. That's how my mind works, right? So I have to go and do it very first thing. And I started doing that. But what I noticed was the most important shift for me was not that I did the ice bath first thing in the morning. It was like, tick, I've done it. What I noticed was because it was so hard for me to do because I really hate being cold, everything else in the day felt really easy. So things that used to feel really difficult for me, like tough conversations, sending out an email I didn't want to send, doing content and things like that, all of those things, because I'd done something difficult first thing in the morning, everything else just kind of felt easier after it. So there's the two parts. There's the prioritizing the things that are important, and there's the understanding if we do the critical task first, everything else is kind of a breeze and we'll naturally manage our time better. So that's just a couple of things that I wanted to mention on time before we finish up today. Alrighty, so let me just share my screen here again because I'd love to share something else with you. And it's an opportunity. As I mentioned before, I am a co-founder of the Ascendancy Collective. There are 3 of us in here that are managing this self-development and education company. And we have all come from extremely different backgrounds and extremely different areas of expertise. And I shared a little bit about my background earlier. So I do business coaching for solo business operators. I'm also a personal life strategist and life coach, a keynote speaker, nervous system regulation and stress management expert, amongst a whole bunch of other things. I've worked with some of the best in personal development over the years. And before that, I had a very extensive corporate leadership career. But I want to tell you about Ascend Summit, which is a 2-day in-person personal development event we've got coming up on the 8th and 9th of August in Brisbane. Now, the other co-founders in the Ascendancy Collective that manage this event with me are Karina Goldsworthy. Now, Karina is the founder of the Sophie Effect, which is a foundation that she created after the loss of her daughter, Sophie. She is very specialized in grief, resilience, identity rebuilding, and self-leadership. She is all about turning your trauma in your life and the things that have the ability to break you into what shapes you and coming back stronger than ever and really building a life that is purposeful and meaningful after loss and tragedy. And the thing that I love about her is that she is able to hold you no matter what you bring, no matter what emotions you bring, no matter what um, comes up for you. She has the capacity to hold you, and her expertise on grief and resilience is absolutely second to none. Now, my other beautiful co-founder is Rhiannon Watson. So she has 8+ years in film and TV. She really understands emotion and human behavior. She's been working with children for many, many years and has probably the deepest insight I've ever seen into the early conditioning, those formative years when we're a child, and what that actually means for us later in life. She's also worked with a number of, important personal development people in the industry and done a lot of mindset and identity training and work as well. And the thing that I love about Rhiannon is she's super grounded. She's equal parts grounded and the ray of sunshine you never knew you needed. She's so connected to her inner child. She's playful, she's fun, she deeply understands conditioning, and she's just beautifully grounded, and the way that she holds people is very gentle and purposeful as well. So the three of us collectively, as I said, have very varied life experience, very varied training, and the way that we present and the way that we come together to really help people at all stages of their life is really quite remarkable. We're so proud of this program that we are running as part of the Ascendancy Collective. So I can't tell you everything about the agenda because there's lots of processes and things that happen in the room that you really need to be there to experience. It would be an injustice for us to tell you all the details, but I will tell you what is included. So 2 full days of live expert facilitation across the 3 facilitators. You're going to have workbooks, materials, any resources that you need included as well. This is a high energy, deeply personal, extremely safe space to be yourself, to be supported, to instigate really important change in your life. This is where you come if you're like, yeah, my life's been kind of fine so far, but I know there's something missing. I know there's more for me. I know I'm not living to my potential. It's just kind of a solid okay. We're going to have you coming out of that room going, hang on a second, life is short. Life is precious. I can be anything I want to be, and this is how. We're going to give you the how to create the life that you actually want, how to feel good about yourself, how to feel good about your life, no matter where you are or what you're doing, because that is so, so important. And aren't we just here for such a short time? It's way too short to be miserable, right? And it took me 38 years to discover this, but now it's like something I can't unsee, and I just love giving it to other people because you will leave that room completely different person, and you will change your life from that day 100%. We're also going to do 30 days post-event integration. So really important that when you have something significant change in the way that you operate and the way that you think and feel and act, that there's an integration period, else you just go back into the world and all of the same things are coming at you, right? And you can go back to the way it was pretty easily. So we make sure that you have 30 days of guided integration to ensure that what you've learned is embedded. You also have access to the Ascendancy Collective community, and I'm going to pop up the school link for that in just a moment, and we're going to do a group integration call as well. So that's what's included. Now, what's in it for you? What are you going to walk away with? A clear understanding of exactly what's been keeping you stuck and how to remove it. So some of you will already know what's keeping you stuck, or you'll think you know. We're going to actually take you through processes to get to the root cause of why you're stuck in life. And then I'm going to give you the really important bit, which is how to get rid of it, how to remove it, so it's not a problem anymore for you. I'm going to give you lots of practical tools to shift your emotional state and your energy. So we're going to be doing lots of different processes and practices in the room that you can take into your day-to-day life that are really actually going to change if you are feeling low energy, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling fear, if you're feeling anger, whatever it is, you're going to know exactly what to do in that moment to change that. If you have very specific fears and limiting beliefs in your life that are running the show, and you know that they're running the show, or maybe you don't, like after this call, have a think about it. What am I afraid of happening? Is that mine? Where did that come from? If you don't know, we're going to help you find that. And we're also going to help you identify some of those reoccurring patterns and limiting beliefs that might be completely out of your awareness. We're going to help you find those so you can actually do something about it. Reconnection with who you actually are and what you genuinely want. Because one of the things that really frightened me when I had my moment at 38 years old, quite a few years ago now, was I was like, I don't actually know how I got here. I It was like I woke up from this autopilot and went, I don't know who I am. I don't know what I like. I don't know what I genuinely want. And it was really scary. So we're going to reconnect you with who you actually are and what you actually want right now. Um, and we do that through that honest picture of where your life is and what needs to change in order to get to the clear, the end result. And that's the other thing I mentioned it earlier before. A lot of us are really scared to dream too big, too scared to actually go, this is what I want in my life. This is where I want to be. Some of us don't know. Some of us don't let ourselves know. And we're going to allow you in the room the space and the safety to do that and to dream big, get clear on what you want. And then we're going to show you, like I keep saying, because I'm very action orientated as a coach, I'm going to show you exactly how to get there, how you have to think, what you have to do, what it looks like to have this, and that it is possible and why. Because the other thing is there's all these rules to life that we just never get told. I mean, some of you have probably come across some of these before. Where you're like, if I had have thought about things in a different way when I was younger, my life would be in a different place. So there's these rules to life that we never get told. And we're going to give you those rules because life is just a game. And if we don't know the rules, how can you win a game, right? So we're going to really challenge some of the ways that you think and feel and what you know and show you what's actually true, and that will give you that completely different relationship with things like your fear, your grief, your anger, your resistance. Generally, you'll feel lighter, clearer, and have a really good plan in place as well. So dates, we have got a live on Zoom on the 1st and 2nd of August, and then we are doing the 8th and 9th of August live in person. That's going to be in Brisbane. Total for this event is $649. So just to be clear, I'm talking about 2 days of your life and, less than $600 when you pop in the coupon code. It's going to be, to completely change your life. So I'm going to actually let you know that this coupon code is actually going to be Ascend. So ASCEND instead of webinar. So if you pop that code in when you scan this, and I'll also put the link in with the email as well. But if you pop in Ascend into the coupon code at the bottom of the link, then it's going to take 10% off this price. So it's well under $600 for 2 full days of live facilitation, absolutely life-changing tools and resources that you'll have for life. Now, the other thing is that one thing that really changed my life, and I did everything, like I did all the personal development, I did all the somatic healing, I did anything you can imagine, I did it. And it all worked. It all contributed to how I now live this beautiful, fulfilled life that I absolutely adore. But one thing was really getting into rooms like this, being around other people that are expanding themselves, that make it safe for you to be vulnerable, that help you grow, that challenge your thinking. Rooms like this are so critical for that. And then the other event that we've got coming up is Ascend Ignite. Now, we ran this event on the weekend just gone, and it was incredible. People got so much clarity around where their life is and where they want it to go and what to do next. So this one is only a $29 investment. It's half a day on Zoom. We're running it again on Saturday, the 11th of July. So definitely grab a ticket to this one. It's the 3 of us facilitating it together. And we look at the past, what has been holding you back, how your beliefs are formed, the present, and we look at values, where you are, where you want to be, and what the gap is. And then we go into this section around how to change your mindset and how to actually set the goals and life outcomes to get what you want in life as well. So the 3 of us facilitating that's Ascend Ignite. Absolutely amazing event. So many people got so much out of it on the Sunday just gone. And this one is, from the comfort of your own home. So that is Ascend Ignite. Now, and finally, you can join us on our school community. So school is just a platform where people can gather. It's completely free to join. And you can chat with like-minded people. We put all of these webinar recordings because we've done multiple webinars and we talk on various topics between the 3 of us. All of our webinar recordings go into school, plus any tools and resources. And also, like I said, just a place to find community and connect with like-minded people as well. So that is the end of the workshop today. I hope that you found it really practical, very enlightening, and are able to go ahead and achieve your life outcomes. in a much more structured way. What I find is with a lot of these goal setting frameworks is they're quite surface level. And in order to actually achieve something, we must go deeper. And this really just gives you that scaffolding, the extra structure and bits and pieces that you need. And if you follow this structure, this framework, I've seen it with hundreds of clients, you are so much more likely to achieve what it is that you want in this life. Thank you so much. I hope to see you again inside the Ascendancy Collective. Thank you for being here. Chat to you soon.